Hello, my name is Mike Hurd.
And I'm Cathy Casey.
Welcome, everybody. Hi, Kathy.
Hey, Michael.
Great to
Always
see
great to
you.
see you. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
And I want
So,
to be in that cabin right now.
truth be told, me too. It's virtual.
Isn't it wonderful?
It is
Mine's
wonderful.
just mine's just the grandkids. I just have the grandkids behind me. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. Let's
Well,
get
that's nice.
started.
That's nice too. So, I want to start with a
Sure.
story today, Kathy. And
Hmm.
it's a story, something that happened to me
Hmm.
and been reflecting on it. And I'm just curious your thoughts about it. Then I can share mine
Sure.
too. But so I was at this really fun fair over the weekend. And it was I'm vegan. I enjoy eating plant-based foods. And there was this vegan
Hmm.
fair, and
Hmm.
my wife and I went to it, and we tried some samples of the different things, and it was really, really a nice event. And I have, I'm not sure if I've told you this, but I have Invisalign, which is basically adult braces that are plastic, and when I eat, I have to brush my teeth right afterwards. So
Hmm.
I went into and this was out of school, so I went into the school public restroom and
Hmm.
was brushing my teeth, and I had a lot on my mind, and I was in my head, and this other man came up, and he was washing his hands. So I stood away, and I came back, and he looked at me, and I at first thought, oh, he's going to ask me about my braces, because it was obvious that I had the tray in my hand and I was brushing my teeth. And instead, he uh, basically pointed out to me in a somewhat, I thought, sarcastic way that I was at this event and carrying it, which is an environmental type event, and
Hmm.
yet I had left the water running the whole time that I was brushing my teeth, which is not a habit that I have, but in this case,
Hmm.
I did it. And Kathy, I was really upset. I didn't show it to him. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something in a calm way. He walked
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
I
yeah.
stayed there and finished. And it was not confrontational at all, but it certainly felt that way to me in
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
moment. And
Yeah,
Kathy, I couldn't, it took me a while
yeah,
to
yeah,
release my thinking about
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm curious, like I took offense at it. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah,
another
yeah, yeah,
way of
yeah, yeah.
saying it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I've been reflecting on, like, when we take offense at things, what's happening behind the scenes?
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then when we stop taking offense at it, like when we look at it a different way, which is what I ended up doing after a while, I saw the innocence of it all eventually.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't know. So I'll let you.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
curious. I'm curious what your take is on my story.
Well, I'm going to make it really simple because that's
Yeah.
a beautiful example. So imagine I have a whiteboard right now and there are two stick figures. Just imagine two stick figures, and each stick figures have all these lines on top of their head. So your stick figure, you're one of them. You have no lines. You're just brushing your teeth and doing what you need to do.
Mm.
And this other guy, he's in there with you and he's in all these lines above his head. And what they represent is he's in a lot of thinking in general. He just has a lot of thinking, and he probably has a lot of attached thinking about the environment. Like this is one of his big deal, like constantly, thinking about it, worried about it, whatever. We don't even have to know what the thinking is. He's just in a lot of thinking about that particular thing. So you're hanging out and you have no lines, and all of a sudden he walks in and he tells you something coming from all those lines, accusing you of, not being respectful of the environment, wasting.
Mhm.
So he's not doing it in a neutral way. He's doing it with like a blaming way, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So all of a sudden you go from having no lines to all of a sudden you start having lines because of what he said to you. So now you're in reaction based upon his the way he spoke to you. Now, it's interesting, maybe on a different day, the same thing could happen. And, out of the blue, this guy gets on your case about wasting water, and you're just in no lines at all. And all of a sudden you look at this guy and you're like, wow, wow, he's really into this, isn't he? Or wow, maybe he's having a bad, see, you would literally not take it personally. You would just see him as like, for some reason, he's just got a lot of stuff about the environment, and you would have no reaction. And another day, you're going to have a lot of reaction. So there's no predictor as to what we get reactive to, as opposed to just seeing it in the context of the thinking process. So if you're walking around in a lot of thinking, think of a pitcher of water, and the water is hovering around the edge, just hovering.
Mhm.
And then you add one little extra drop in, and it all comes spilling out. Well, that was the guy who walked into the restroom. So he's walking around with this full pitcher of water about the environment, and people aren't respectful, and it's really bad, and all the thinking he has, it's in this pitcher, and it's just hovering. And then he has one thought about you running the water, and you got to experience how he spoke to you. It
Mhm.
just, all this thinking, it kind of leaks out, it kind of comes out, it overflows. And that's how we are as human beings. We're walking around in a ton of thought, more than we realize. And there are days when we're not in so much thought, so things don't bother us. And there are other days when we're just in a lot of thought. And again, you don't even have to know what it is, but things will, you'll react to it, you'll take it personally. And it's just kind of a human thing. And I
Mm.
think anybody who's watching this right now, think of a time when you're just having a good old time, you're cruising through your day, and something happens, and then you get reactive.
Mm.
Now, and then you would look at the person as the reason why, and it's interesting because it's very compelling. Like somebody cuts me off in traffic. They in California, this is what they do. So you're driving along in the slow lane, and then all of a sudden a guy from 4 lanes over, because we have 4 lane high, comes cruising across to make the exit, and he barely misses you. He comes cruising to make that exit. And I'd be, he's gonna kill me and kill. I mean, I would just get so enraged. I mean, really, really pissed off. And again, it happens all the time. Next time it happens, it's almost like you just see it happening. And another time I'd be sitting there going, man, that is unbelievable how people can do that. So I don't take it personally. I'm just like watching the event and from a neutral place. Like it's amazing what people will do versus it's being done to me personally, because he doesn't know who I am.
Mhm.
But there are days when I think he's deliberately trying to kill me. It looks like that. So I guess it might be hard to see it this way, but if you can appreciate that we're all thinking beings, we're just in thought all the time. And there are days when things are going to get on our very last nerve. And there are other days it'll be like water off a duck's back. And it could be the same situation. And so I just invite you to look at your experience of that. Like, are there times when things bother you more than others? And that's where you want to look, not at the other person. The only thing I see about a person like that is, wow, he's got a lot on this, you know,
Mhm.
because I mean, yeah, I let the water run, but in general, either I'm going to feel okay about how I am with running water, or I might even say, you know what, he's right. God, I should pay attention to that. It
Mm.
could go that way too. Or I'm very responsible. I'm very pro environment. I don't waste water ever. It was just this one time. I mean, it's like you're trying to make your case to somebody who's not there. And that's just our humanness where we take things personally. And we do it a lot. We do it a lot. And then we see the source of that feeling is coming from the situation or the person, when actually it's just where our thinking is in any given moment. And I'm not condoning him being that way. I'm not saying, well, no, if he really wants to educate people on the environment, him doing it, shaming people, not a good way to go about it. That's not going to help him, you know, get people to really appreciate what the deal is. So, but he just doesn't know that. He
Mm.
just doesn't, he innocently doesn't know that. Because he just has so much angst about the whole thing. So that's how I would see that.
That's great. That's super, super helpful. And I see where you're pointing. And yeah, it's interesting as I've reflected on it, how even thinking, even thinking back to the incident can bring up that feeling again.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
Oh,
even there
yeah.
anymore. A day late, a week later, right now talking about it.
And see, that's when I have that, something is still lingering, it's still bothering me, even, a week later or a month later. So then I have to say to myself, well, Kathy, what's up with that?
Right.
Like, why would that be such a big deal for you? Now, I may not have the answer,
Hmm.
but as soon as you kind of put it out there into the universe, like, what is the deal? Why would this bother me so much? And then you just sort of maybe hopefully have an insight or an answer might show up for you. Maybe not right away, but at some point you may recognize. Like my biggest pet peeve is when people don't look both ways when they're crossing the street. So I'm driving and for some reason they just trust that I'm going to see them and stop. They don't even look. I can't imagine crossing the street and not looking both. Even if I'm got a green light, I'm still, I want to be aware of my surroundings. A lot of people, they literally, or they're doing this, they're in
Right.
their iPhones, but a lot of them they just don't even consider. Well, it's a pet peeve. Like if I ended up hitting this person, it'll be my fault. And see, that's what's bothering me is when I see that, I have this deep fear or this fearful thought that I'm going to end up killing somebody, which
Mm,
is for some reason, that's a big deal thought for me. And I realized one day, Kathy, you don't have to worry about you're going to kill somebody. I mean, see, that's the thinking that I was experiencing that had nothing to do with the person walking across the street. But again, I
mhm,
had this worst fear thought that I was operating from that I didn't know until one day I realized you're just afraid you're going to kill somebody. And so of course anybody who walk across the street means I'm going to kill somebody, I'm going to be accused of murder, I'm going to end up in prison and nobody will come see me. I mean, I have this whole scenario which
mhm,
I didn't realize until one day I said, wow, it's all about the fear that you're going to kill somebody.
mm,
So it's amazing where our thinking can go. So everybody just
mm.
appreciate that we're human beings, and the next time you have a reaction, just kind of just sit with it like, oh wow, now what's up? And I would have, the thing I would say is don't keep looking at the situation or the person, just go back like, what's up with me? It's fun.
Great. Yeah, that's super. Thank you, Kathy. Great
Thank you,
talking
Mike.
with you as always.
Yeah, that was fun.
And we'll see you next time.